Hello and welcome to True Perspective. I'm so excited to bring to you another exciting episode. Today I have with me a very special guest and is the first of kind on the show. Please make welcome with me Pastor Adekunle Adeyemi. Yeah, you're
Well, I
welcome.
greet everyone. Thank you so very much. I'm happy to be here wherever you're watching us from. The Lord bless you. The Lord bless your family and bless the work of your hand. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much for being on set with us today. Just a little bit about Pastor Adekunle. He's an IT professional. He's a businessman, an entrepreneur. He's a father to an amazing family. He's a very special friend to my family, and I'm so excited to have him here
Thank you.
today.
Thank you.
All
I'm
right,
glad to be
so
here.
here we go. You've been here for some time. Tell
Mhm.
us about your journey because I know that a lot of times women are the ones who are in the forefront of making this transition, and then for men, when you come, how do you how has it been? Leaving
Mm.
all what you had before and then starting again, please.
Well, thank you so much for this opportunity to be heard. And I want to thank your beloved family for being a blessing to my family as well. It's been a journey. Like you said, a father, a husband, and a friend. My wife's name is Olubumi Adeyemi. And then I have wonderful boys and girls. The Lord has blessed us with children. And then professionally, I'm a trained engineer. I have 2 degrees in engineering. I have a BSc in electronics and computer engineering, and I have a master's in computer systems from prestigious universities in Nigeria. And then journey to Canada. You have to start all over again. It's been interesting because when you look back, uh, Brother Paul said, forgetting those things that are past and looking forward towards a new thing.
Mm.
So we've been pressing forward. Uh, we started the journey 2018, and today, looking back, we can say, Glory be to God.
Hallelujah.
So that's about it. We came in early 2019, but we left Nigeria 2018.
Okay.
So yeah.
Wow, fantastic. So, you said you left Nigeria, in 2018, but you got here in 2019. And how the journey, what was on your mind, after you got here? What are the thoughts? I know you must have had your plans, fine, but what did you see in the nearest future with your family? How did you view that in your mind? How were you able to communicate it to your family to say, oh, we need space? I know you would have done that, but what were the thoughts in your mind?
Okay, so the Bible said the preparation of heart is of man,
Mhm.
but the fulfillment is of God.
Mm.
Um, One thing is for you to plan a journey of migrating to a country like Canada. Another thing is for God to give whatever um, you desire. So our journeys for everyone that have migrated to Canada has uh, reasons. So especially for security reasons, we all know what the state of things are with our beloved country, which we hope and we trust God that the God that gives peace will surely restore peace, security, and prosperity back to our beloved country, Nigeria. So that has been the back end of the journey, and then originally coming into Canada had been it's something that a lot of us, somebody like me, never even saw coming. I never thought of coming to Canada in the first place. But when situation happens and then you think about your family and you put God first and God gives you the go ahead that this is the way to go. This is where I'm going to manifest myself and grant every desire and every promise he had made to you and your family. Just like you promised Abraham and he was seeking for a city whose builder and foundation is God.
Wow, fantastic. Fantastic. So, how has the journey been working with getting employed, the process of getting employed? Because I know you're working somewhere and, you know, tell us the process of you getting, as you started getting settled,
Yeah.
the process of you getting employed. I'm sure you did, I think you did a course also.
Yeah.
And then how did you get into the Canadian work space?
Thank you for the question. We know that for everyone that migrates to our beloved country, Canada, you must be ready to start from the scratch. And when I mean start from the scratch, you must be ready to learn and unlearn, no matter what level of education, exposure, and experience you must have had in the past. And Canadian company typically want you to acclimatize, get to know your work environment, get to know the people, get to know what's, safe work environment and the rest of it. So everything is embedded in the culture aside from your professional ethics. So that would really, gear you to probably go to the college or the university to do a bridging program and upgrade, and for some people, a second career. But as a child of God, we know that putting God first, you seek direction. And I know that I haven't invested almost almost 2 decades in IT. I wouldn't want to move to a second career, anything outside IT. So I started by going for a bridging program at Humber, which is IT bridging, and then which I couldn't even finish because my family needed my attention more. I had my last born was barely 1 year old when we moved to Canada, and so the pressure on my wife was much. So I had to step that down. Then I joined another program which I could do remotely, which was not in class, which was Google
Good.
IT support.
Okay.
So just in the spirit of willing to do something to be able to put food on the table for my family and to be able to make myself useful to my new community. So I joined the Google IT support program, which was basically a scholarship from Toronto Library in connection with Coursera, um, Microsoft, and some other big giants in the IT that sponsored the program then. So doing that, I was doing that. Then I also had to enroll for a JIP. JIP means a job intensive program. So for anyone migrating to Canada as a new immigrant, one of the things that had to come to the front of your mind is you having Canadian experience is very critical. No matter how many years you've spent in the industry, where you're coming from, Canadian experience is not to be toyed with. And for you to get that experience, it's either you are going to school for it or you are being employed somewhere for it. And because the job market could be a bit competitive, if you have a place you can volunteer, or like the one I call the job intensive program, it's a 1 year volunteer in IT field with the company I did it with then. And then the purpose of it is to be able to have, so talking about the Canadian experience, so you either earn it by going to school or earn it by going to work on volunteer, which will still give you that experience that you wanted. So I was lucky to get a JIP where I did 1 year, and within the 1 year, the same company, I think I did my JIP with Toronto Employment and Social Services, and my coordinator was able to connect me with very valuable resource center where I got my first job. I actually got a full-time job as an IT support in Toronto.
Thank you so much for that. You know, that's quite a journey because I know that for as professionals, it's you can easily, well, maybe not that easy, but it's easier to just navigate to continue with whatever you had before your previous background, previous career, and just kind of continue. So
After my JIP, I understand that I needed to enroll for some other programs, which I later did in the later years, the 2 years program in the college to study cybersecurity, and then did professional certification, CompTIA Plus, and then did some other programs, and then still continue to do some other programs. So, of course, you need that's your foot at the door. You need that JIP, you need that volunteer, you need that opportunity, to be able to have someone to be able to give you a credit, a reference to say, oh, even though this person had worked 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 5 years, where you're coming from, but he has done 3 months with us and we think we can vouch for it.
Would volunteering in somewhere similar to your career path, can it also do the work that GIP did for you?
The similarity is about, okay, you are not doing the job to earn a salary or a wage. You are doing it to get the Canadian experience. You are doing it to get reference. You are doing it to get commendation, because after my JIP, I got a certificate from the city of Toronto at York to say this person did so services with us, and we can vouch and guarantee him for what he did. Like, he's a professional and is good at his job. So even though they've not been part of my career for 18, 17 years before I moved to Canada, but for the period I spent with them, they are able to speak for me. So, and that helped me in moving from that place. When I moved up north, got permanent job. When I needed a referral, they couldn't hold back. They could refer me to say, oh, this person, we can guarantee him he was with us. We can talk about his conduct. We can talk about his social skill. We can talk about his communal. We can talk about every other thing that they have seen me exhibit while I did the JIP with them. It connects you with people, it connects you with opportunity, and it connects you with resources.
Wow, fantastic, fantastic. What I've just heard, in just these few minutes we've been talking, is for you out there who you're still struggling, trying to get, a job, a permanent job, or you're just struggling doing things. Why don't you try volunteering? There are resources that are available. Go to the YMCA, go to anywhere that the government has identified as a job center or whatever. Go and volunteer. Don't say, oh, they are not paid. Because from where we come from, there's not much volunteering thing that we do there. Every work you do, you need to get paid for it. But thank God that we now know better, and we know how much skill you can develop, when you're volunteering or you're doing stuff like this. It will also help you to secure that permanent job that you're looking for. I'm concerned about men who migrate and they find it difficult to. I know people who are like, where do I want to start from? You quickly started, your IT thing, and then you're just going. But not many men, even till now, some people have been here for 5 years. They are still, maybe they will do one job today. They are just not really, maybe because of family. They're like, "Oh, let's just be pushing this thing because of the children." But if you look at them, they are still struggling. And it boils down to how it affects them mentally. The mental health issue with men, amongst men. Please tell us, how have you been able to cope with all these things that you do? And how do you ease yourself from all this stress?
Okay. Thank you once again, and thank you, our viewers. I will start by saying Philippians 4:13.
Mm,
Philippians 4:13 say, I can do all things
through
through
Christ,
Christ
who
that strengthens
strengthens
me.
me.
I'm sorry, I can't take away the place of God
Yeah, of
in
course.
all this.
Mm,
Mental health is real.
mm,
It is real. But for anyone that migrates newly, my advice would be find your kind.
mm,
First, if you are fortunate to be able to migrate with your family, then definitely your spouse should be your best friend
mm,
because you need each other more than any other person
mm,
in this part of the world. Secondly, if circumstances did not allow husband and wife to migrate together, then there should be somebody of your kind
mm.
who probably knows better than you, I would say,
Suspect this was
who,
suggest.
in terms of career, in terms of spiritual, in terms of social, in everything that represents you, there's somebody out there
Mm,
who you look at and you can look up to and say, I think I can be a friend to this person. You don't want to be alone in this part of the world.
at all. Mm,
Secondly, apart from finding your kind, you need fellowship. I
mm,
must say that when we got to Canada, um, first we were doing remote fellowship.
mm,
In time, when I mean fellowship, I mean Christian fellowship. I know everybody can't be a Christian,
mm,
so whichever religion you practice, you need the communion of your fellow believer in whatever religion you practice. So, but as a Christian, you need a fellowship of
mm.
fellow Christians.
Christians.
So, at a point, we had to move from online fellowship to physical presence
Mm,
fellowship. So, and we were so blessed to join a local church where we were loved and we were also able to contribute.
mm,
That kept the vacuum of
mm,
not being in the midst of our family or being in our home country. That was able to fill in some vacuum. And going back to your question, like that there are no so much support center for men
mm.
unlike women in Canada. But however, there are resource center.
Yeah.
One of the things you don't want to do to yourself as a man is to sit back. You know, you want to keep yourself busy. You want to get yourself engaged. You know, the other time I was talking about career, I did mention that even when you don't have a job, you create one for yourself.
Mm,
I dress up in the morning before I could even get the JIP job while I was doing my trainings from either the bridging program and when I joined the Google program, I dress up in the morning. I like I'm going to the office
mm.
and sometimes I just go to the library.
Wow.
Sometimes I go to YMCA. Sometimes I go to any resource center where I know I can find information.
Mhm.
I sit down on the system. I start working on my resume. I see some crash program, 2 days training, 3 days training on their notice board. I ask questions. How can I get into this program?
Mm,
That engage me mentally. Like
mm,
I go out, I come in. When I'm coming in, like this the stress is a bit released. Like not that it's not there, but first, like I said, you have need a supportive spouse. For those who are not married, of course, you have a peer group, you know, and the journey became sweeter when we moved to Northern Ontario, where
mm,
its home, the
mm,
Sudbury.
mm.
We have a
Community,
community, a
yeah.
very viable one at that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we check on each other. You have people that speaks your
Language.
language. You know, you don't necessarily need to call my phone before you come to my house. You can just knock on my door and say, I just feel like talking to someone, and
Mm,
you rub minds,
mm,
so that really brings a lot of relief,
mm,
so having organizations like the Nigerian community in Greater Sudbury
mm,
that, have the ear to hear people
mm,
out and to share part of your burdens,
mm.
and also to reason out with you to see how we can all work out our testimonies
Yeah.
is a lot of blessing for
Wow.
men.
Wow. Fantastic. Fantastic. Community. What I hear you say is belong to a community. I heard you say find your kind. I heard you say fellowship. Fellowship, very, very important. And funny enough, throughout this week, I've been listening to a message, and there was a part of there's a conference ongoing, and the part of the conference is talking about community and it just speaks to me now, finding the kind of people you confide in. And it's just similar to what you just said, it find your kind,
Yeah.
men, men have been created to work, and so when the work is not forthcoming, they have to channel that energy somewhere.
Yeah.
But you need to find the right environment to channel that energy.
Yes.
You need to find the right people to talk to. There are people who are here before. You can ask them, oh, how did you do this? How did you do that? And they can say, oh, you try this. It may not even be your own field, but the fact that there's somebody you can talk to,
Yeah.
that is a man like yourself, because
Yes.
the challenges you face as a man is not the same challenge I face as a woman.
Of course.
And so if we have those kind of conversations with fellow men, we have gatherings, we have community parties and events that we attend, and we are able to share and laugh and ease out, that is really, really fantastic. And I encourage men, please take advantage of the resources that you have around you. Join a fellowship or a church or a group, find your kind, join a community. Just put yourself in a place where, the devil will not take advantage of your mind.
Exactly.
Wow, fantastic. Thank you so much, Pastor.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I'm so grateful to hear these great thoughts from you. So I want to ask you,
Yes.
I want you to